Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be doing a guide on Lucilius. This will be our first Granblue guide and there will be many more to come. Now the structure of this guide will be me first talking about buttons, then specials, then combos, and lastly our overall game plan. Now I'm going to section these off and we're going to have some timestamps, so if you want to skip to a section, go ahead and do that. But just know that this video will serve you best if you watch it the full way through. Now Lucilius is a character with very strong special moves, but they have very long cooldowns. You need to see how powerful these are. I'm sure you've seen them already. They hit really hard. They're just really good. So it's expected that they have long cooldowns, but to counteract that, he has very good buttons. And also, if you see this gauge charging above the one in the pink, every time he goes up a level, the cooldowns get shorter. So like if you're able to reach max level in a match, then you can become quite the boss. Now first I want to talk about his jab. If you look at his jab here, his light attack goes very far. And a cool thing about this that like a lot of characters don't have, like certain characters like Cheetah, for example. Look at this kick right here. If we make the opponent crouch, switch over to Cheetah, see how that whiffs right there? If we make him stand, switch back to Cheetah, now it hits. So with the light attacks for some of the other characters in the game, it could just go right over their head if they're crouching. But with Lucilius, we don't have to deal with that, so they can be crouching too. So you see that right there. And standing, same thing. So yes, I see I just take a step further and it just reaches. So it doesn't matter like what kind of stance they are, if they're crouching or doing something that makes their body low, the light attack is always gonna hit. And also it has just really long range, man. It's an incredibly good button. Now for the standing medium, one could argue that it's possibly the best normal button in the game. It's probably the best button in the game. If you see the range here, it just goes super far. And it's a 9 frame from afar, and if you're just a little closer, it turns into a 7 frame, as you can see here. Now what's great about this is, you know, if you hit confirm, you go to your grab right here, and you just kind of put a lot of pressure on your opponent because like you're outranging them by a lot, and it's a fairly fast button. And if you see they're blocking, you could also go into your stance, just kind of throw things out if that's what you want to do. You know, you can also throw out a hit and throw a projectile as well. So you know, there's a lot you can do. Even if you're feeling kind of greedy, you know, maybe your opponent is like really block heavy, so you just throw out the heavy version of the projectile and just kind of lock them down there. It's just an overall great button. Like you really can't complain about it. Next we have standing heavy. Standing heavy is nothing too crazy. I mean, I'd rather throw out the medium, right? But the cool thing about the standing heavy is if you're just in that perfect range and you get a counter hit, you can get a 3-hit combo out of that. You can go into your auto combo from there, which is a pretty good thing. So maybe if you're like trying to throw bait them, you get a little close and you back up and you hit that, and possibly if you do it, there's like the perfect range. That's, you know, not the close range range, obviously. You get a 3-hit combo off of that. So it's fairly effective there. Now another thing I like about the standing heavy is the close range version is something that hits it's a button that hits 3 times. So it's like it gives you a lot of time to basically know what's happening. Like basically it gives you a lot of time to confirm on whether your opponent is blocking or getting hit by it. So a lot of times, you know, if you're trying to open your opponent up, but you're going for the grabs and he's teching all of your grabs, a good strategy in Granblue is just to run up and do a heavy, because it's like the perfect amount of time for if they're gonna react by doing a grab, they'll just get counter hit instead. So if you see that they block, it gives you enough time. Since the button lasts for such a long time, you can kind of tell what you want to go for. So maybe you could go to a low or an overhead, or maybe just kind of just throw out a projectile or something. You know, not that, but you know, throw out a projectile. And you know, if you got a counter hit, then you got your. That's not random. Then you get your counter hit when he's not blocking, of course. So, you know, it gives you a lot of time to react to the situation because it hits 3 times and it lasts pretty long. So it's pretty easy to hit confirm off of. Now for the lows, the crouching attacks. We already know about crouching heavy. Is obviously the anti-air for everybody in the game, so you know it's universal. The crouching lights are fairly normal as well. We're gonna go a little bit more of during the guide. We're gonna go over the strategy for Lucius, so we'll get more into that. Now for the crouching medium, well, the best use I found for it is it's a 7-frame button. The best use I found for it is for stopping people doing 6-6Ls. So if you got a good read on your opponent doing your 6-6L on you, you just kind of prepare for that and just throw it out there. And then, you know, you got yourself a counter hit. Go ahead and give him a sledge. Now let's get into special moves. Now his forward special move, this right here, this is a lot stronger than one would think. You don't really see a lot of Lucius players throwing this out, but its round start has round start reach you range, which is pretty incredible. So look at the range of the medium. I can't even touch it from here. Bam, like round start, bam, I can touch you with that. Very strong. It can also anti-air fairly well. You know, it's a pretty good button to throw out there. You know, I know the cooldowns are long, so it should be something you throw out more towards your cooldowns being lowered as you raise the gauge that we talked about earlier. But yeah, keep it in mind that the light version is a very useful tool for neutral. Now the heavy version is maybe you're doing an auto combo and you're trying to trick your opponent thinking you're just gonna do the one, and it comes down on them and collapses. It's like a cheap way to get just a little bit of damage off. You know, nothing too crazy to write home about. And now the medium version is mostly used for, always used for combos. Now for our back special, we have the heavy version here. The heavy version is 19 frames and the medium version is 17, I believe. Yep, 17. So normally these will be our combo enders. Mostly we're going to be using the medium version to end our combos. And the heavy version is pretty good maybe to catch somebody out. If you know they're not respecting your range, you can just kind of catch them like from here and just kind of grab them up. So you know if they're not careful, you can grab them from pretty far. And the light version we'll use for wall bounces. So we're doing a corner combo. We're gonna extend it by doing that so we can get a wall bounce. Now to our down special, the teleports. Now the cool thing about this, the heavy version right here, is that you can combo off of it as long as it hits. Get a nice combo off of it, which is very strong. And if your opponent were to block the heavy version, you're still plus. So just know that everybody's gonna be looking to stop that. You know, especially the higher you climb, people are gonna be looking out for that. So they're gonna punch you with a 2H and like combo you to death. So you want to be careful about that. What I suggest you do is you throw it out there and just get a feel of your opponent. And if that's something that he's ready for, then you can always switch it up and go for this right here. And what's special about that one is if your opponent is stopping your heavy version, then they'll probably 2H as soon as they see you disappear, and they'll get hit by that. And if they're doing a 2H as they do that, as you do your teleport, then you get a counter hit, which is perfect for in the corner, because then you can proceed to combo. Now the light attack, the light version is just a regular teleport. As you can see, it's negative 39 here. But if your opponent is just blocking this and being super careful about the teleports, this is perfect. Or maybe they're spot dodging to stop both versions. Then that's where you can do the light version and just maybe go for a heavy. Or maybe do that and just kind of walk up a little bit and go for a heavy and get a nice little counter hit. Catch your opponent off guard. So never be too obvious about your teleports, man. Always mix it up on your opponents. And lastly, our projectile, our neutral special. Now this goes full screen, so we can just use that as like a regular projectile. Maybe you might want to hold out on that if the opponent's until like the opponent is low, because remember your cooldowns are fairly long. And the medium version we can use to extend one combo we do in the middle of the screen, and we could also use it to extend our corner combos. And now the heavy version, basically just locks you down. So you can do that on somebody's wake up, so they have to wake up into that and they're under like extreme pressure because that's going to be hitting them a lot and it's going to lock them down. Now on to the ultimate skills. Now ultimate skills, the ones that use the meter, we'll go over them one by one. First we'll talk about this grab right here, the back special. Now this is it could be used as a tool. I mostly use it for a combo ender, but what you can use it for is if you just want to catch your opponent out, if you think they're going to make a move. So right now I have these just set to run up and then immediately back up and start blocking. So you see how quick that happens? So if you see somebody running forward and you throw it out, you should be stuck in that when you get them. Now it won't work from like full screen because it's not that fast. But if you time it right, and you see them, as soon as you see them running forward and just throw it out, and then usually they'll get stuck in that. So you can kind of throw it out. I mean, it's kind of risky. I wouldn't recommend doing it that much unless you're trying to like close out a fight and you're pretty sure you know what your opponent's gonna do. So that's what I would leave it to. Now for the projectile, it's for a long time. You can get a pretty good combo, like starting with the jump in, and then you just receive the combo from there. And you can do the full combo too, so it's really strong. And if you know if you have your opponent blocking, keep them locked down for a lot of times. Just kind of do whatever you can, just kind of mix them up from there. But the only problem is let's set it to spot dodge. Oh, that's backstep. What is the spot dodge? Evade. So you have them evading. So the only problem with it is if you want to throw it out like this, they can just, you know, evade it every time. So if your opponent recognizes what you're doing, they'll just spot dodge it, and it's kind of a crappy feeling knowing that you just threw 50 meters down the drain. So you want to be careful with that. You want to have a good read on your opponent before you do that. Also, you can just do it in, if you're getting hits, you can just do it in a combo. And just, you know, do your combo from there. You know, you get a little extra damage. But yeah, that's the projectile, our neutral. Now for our teleport, this is a great throw bait. And if you don't know what a throw bait is, when you run up to go for your opponent's grab, they might want to. They're mostly gonna want to tech your grab. So that's when you run up and you do it, and then you'll get a combo instead. So they'll try to grab you, and instead they'll just be eating this, and they'll be getting combo. So yeah, that's what a throw bait is, and that will be a throw bait move. Now I haven't had a lot of luck with that. A lot of times people attack me out of it. I find it to be fairly slow. But that's not to say that you shouldn't do it at all. But just, you know there's some risk to it because it is kind of slow, and they could see it coming. So yeah, be wary that you might get punished. But you know, it's still a throw bait. It's still a throw bait, and you should do it every now and then. And lastly, which ones did we not do? Oh, this one, the obvious one. This is your DP. This is your only get off move. Unfortunately for Lucius, you have to spend meter to get your opponent off of you, but it is what it is. This is what you're gonna do when you want to relieve yourself of some pressure. Oh, and before okay, one more thing is the good thing about this is you could always just cross by your opponent. So let's say you're in the corner and you beat up, just do that, just kind of switch up on it. See how I'm positive 2 there if I do that roll? And you know, if that's too hard for you to time, you just jump. You know, jump and maybe land with an attack or something. But it's better just run up and roll. You know, get that timing down so you can get a good side switch. So that's the good thing about that DP. Now let's start talking about combos. First, we'll start with our bread and butter mid-screen combo. Forward special. Back special. Simple enough. Now, if we want to burn some meter, get a little extra damage there. To show you again. And we can always get a safe jump right off of that. So every time we finish with this, we get a safe jump. So just jump immediately, and at the last second hit your jump attack, your jump heavy, and hold backwards. So if your opponent is doing a DP, you'll be able to block it, and if not, then they'll block your attack or sometimes get hit by it. Now for our throw bait combo. So if we're gonna pretend to grab our opponent and just kind of teleport on them, bounce them off the wall, use a crystal here, get 6,300 damage, so that's fairly good. Now if you don't want to use a crystal, you can make it a lot simpler. Do something like that. Or this is a little harder to do because it takes some specific timing. You can do that instead. Now for our anti-air combo. And if they're jumping from you from afar, and this also works even if you don't get the counter hit, so we'll make Vegeta just do a regular jump and not do any attacks. So we can just and the same way, just do it the same way, the same exact way. You know, it doesn't matter if you get a counter hit or not. You do the combo the same exact way, just fine. And lastly, our corner combos. Now we're using the stance, our unique, and we're going through a heavy to end that combo with. So just to show you again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And there are 2 heavy, and then the stance into heavy. Now if we want to use some meter, same thing. We just, instead of doing our stance into heavy, we just use our super. And if all your abilities are off cooldowns and you want to get a little extra damage in, that will be your combo. And keep in mind, if you choose to do so, after your combo, you could always just put your opponent into a little bit of extra pressure. And so, have them fall right into the projectile, and they'll possibly be blocking it, and they'll be under heavy pressure. So yeah, you could also end your combos that way. Lastly, let's talk game plan. Now, as in in Granblue fashion, we're gonna want to hit our 6/6Ls, obviously, and if we can, we want to go to our auto combo afterwards. Don't know why it's not chaining. There we go. And, you know, do our bread and butter. So let's say our opponent attacks us after we do our 6/6L. Now that could happen if you tend to do a 6/6L and then run up to your opponent to grab or do something else. You know, they're gonna attack you before you can get close to them. So what we do is we go into our L right afterwards, into medium. Those two will chain if it's a counter hit, and then will counter if they're hitting a button, as we see her doing the light afterwards. We go right into the slam. And if we got some meter and we want to get a little extra damage in, throw that out, and then proceed to combo. Now, if they block our 6/6L and choose not to attack us, we could always run up to them and start with a 2L into a high one. And if we see that hits, we can go right into auto combo and then combo afterwards. So we go run up low and do it just like that. Or we have some other options too. So let's have our opponent block. So if they block that, then what we can do afterwards, let's take off that counter hit. So 1, 2, and then we have some options here. We can run up and we can go for a grab. So 1, 2, grab. And if they're really good at stopping our grabs, we 1, 2, heavy. And why we do heavy is that's us fishing for a counter hit. So if they're looking to stop our grab, boom, run up and heavy, do a heavy. And if they're like attacking or trying to stop our grab, then that'll be a counter hit. Run up heavy, run up grab. Now let's say after our 6XL and we do that, after they see us do this, and they're used to our game plan and us running right up to them right afterwards. After we do this and running up to them, they're used to that, and they choose to attack us at that moment. What we do is just do a light afterwards. Just like that. That's going to be our block string. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to combo it together because those three can combo. That could be a 3-hit combo. What we want to do is we want to space it out. Space out the light. So if they do hit a button, it'll be a counter hit. And just like before, we would do that if we get a counter hit. So bam, bam, counter hit here, then to the medium, into whatever, into the slow thing, or into our grabby thing. If our opponent seems to be blocking our block strings, so let's say we get to this point right here, we could also use our unique and go into this and kind of pull them closer to us. As you see, when that hits, we're +2. So we have some options from here. We can just go out and attack a light or a medium, or we just go for, most of our opponents are going to know that, we're plus there, so they probably won't do anything. So we can 6-6L and do it all over again. So something like that. Now also, you don't have to do it after the medium. You could just go right here, getting close. You can think about grab, or you can run up in heavy, as we talked about, to bait out a grab or something and get a counter hit. So yeah, don't forget about stance. Also, while we're talking about the unique stance, if we have an opponent, let's say it's not Jita, and it's somebody who doesn't have any projectiles and they're kind of forced to come towards us, we can just chill in the stance, bro. Just chill in the stance and dare them to come at us. As you can see, it's our meter is charging up, so they're gonna obviously want to stop us. So when they approach us, we can throw out the light, which goes fairly far. We can throw out the medium, obviously, and get our become plus. Now our opponents might see this and be like, hey, I'll just jump at them. So that's when we use heavy. And normally they'll be doing a jump attack. So you see how they could bounce off there? Well, I kind of just found this out. If you get a heavy, what you can do, if you get a counter hit, is hit this right here. Now the timing is iffy. You gotta catch them right off the first bounce. And boom, look at that beautiful damage right there. Look at that beautiful damage right there. So, be sure to practice this and get the timing down, because it's kind of hard to do. You gotta be pretty specific about the timing. You can't really spam it. You gotta hit it at the right time. As you can see, I constantly fail here, so you want to practice this. And don't forget, safe jump. Don't forget your safe jump. Always do your safe jump after you hit that. Because if you don't know about safe jumps, that means if you land on them and you do your attack and they do a DP, you can block the DP. If not, you'll just hit them like you saw there. Now our 2U right here, our sweep, doesn't really combo into anything except for this right here, our forward special, light, and our back special light. Now why we want to use our sweep in the corner is because we can do our back special light, and we can do a combo off of it. Right in the super, right? That's all of it. That's half their health, all from catching them off of a sweep. So you should always use your sweep every now and then, to catch them low when they're trying to back away and they're not guarding their toes. But it's best used in the corner because we can get that nice little combo right there. And lastly, just want to give a reminder, don't forget the throw bait. It's not the most reliable throw bait, but when it does hit, it hurts. That is a lot of damage off of a throw bait, so don't be too scared to throw that out. Don't rely on it too much, but don't be scared to throw it out. And don't forget about this move right here, the light version. The light version goes super far. So you be sure to abuse that, especially when your cooldowns get lower. Be sure to abuse that, because it will make you a boss in neutral. And that is my guide to Lucilius. Now, if there's anything that I possibly left out, and something you know that I left out, go ahead and leave it in the comments, because we're all trying to learn here. You know, we all want to get better, you know, especially if you enjoy playing this character. And also let me know who you want me to make a guide for next. Right now I'm thinking Narmaya. Really thinking about Narmaya. That's who I have planned for next. But if there's somebody else that you want, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below, and my mind could be possibly swayed. Now, the things that I showed in this guide helped me get to master, and hopefully you can get to master as well. So go ahead and leave a like on your way out if you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.